Hi everyone, thank you for coming back to my newest video. This one is going to be all about my favourite brushes and how I store them and how I bring them on set. So as with loads of different things in makeup, brushes are completely down to personal preference. You could use one brush in one way with one product or in a completely different way. I personally have chosen my sort of favourite brushes here to show you, and I'll talk to you about how I personally use them, but if you use them in a different way, that's perfect. It's whatever gets the job done. So I've sectioned them off into sort of skin, creamy and liquid skin brushes, then I've got powder brushes for the face, then I've got my key eye brushes, and then I have sort of like details, brows, lips. That might seem a little bit weird that I've popped them in these groups together, but it's kind of because of how I store them at work. So personally, I carry 3 little brush caddies with me to every job. 1, 2, 3. I do one which is like cream and liquid skin products. Then I do one which is powders for the face. And then I have my third one, which this is just what they look like. They twist up and down, which has my eye brushes, my lip brushes, my detail brushes, my spatulas. So basically everything else that's miscellaneous, because the other brushes are just much bigger. So I wanted to have one which is more compact with all these little ones that I like, and then the other 2 for the big face brushes. So I find these incredibly useful because let's say I only have 1 or 2 models or 2 clients that day, I can just take the tops off these and I can use them for the brushes for each individual client, and then I can use my final one for trash. So that's really, really handy for me because it just keeps, you know, the amount of things that I need to bring with me to every job really, really small, because I'm going to have them anyway as the tops. I do actually keep a separate one just in case I need a third, but that's usually for trash specifically. Let's say I have more than 2 or 3 clients that day, I take along a Muji container like this. It's just a 6-segment plastic container, and I will put the brushes for each individual model or client in one of these. You can put little stickers on each side which represent the talent, or you can even write their name or put a little name sticker on. I usually just use a little marker because that rubs off at the end of the day. But yeah, just to keep track of whose brushes are for sanitation reasons. Okay, so now it's time to get down to the good stuff, the brushes that I like to use for foundation. So I have 3 main brushes that I kind of like to use. You will first of all notice that they're very small. People have commented on this in the past saying it would be so much quicker if you just used a bigger brush, but I just prefer the precision of a small brush. So I have a duo fiber brush here from MAC, and that's a 159S. It's a geofiber brush, and I use this for sort of liquids and creams when I want a really sheer application on the face. I think it's a fab brush. I use this a lot for people who have got like basically perfect skin. It just puts a little wash all over the face of foundation, and I don't put too much heavy product on. The next one is a Zoeva, 110 face shape. So there's a full size of this, which is sort of a massive dome brush, but I prefer the smaller one because you can really get in around the smaller areas of the face, and I don't tend to put foundation all over anyone's face. I do tend to put it in sort of spots and then buff it out. This is great for dabbing in, really buffing foundation in. I can use basically any formula of foundation with this one. It is literally my favourite thing. And then sometimes I use a Morphe, and this is an E8. And again, it's a similar sort of thing to the Zoeva, but it's not as dense, so I can really get a swirl around the face. Sometimes if I put foundation on and I feel like it's a little bit too much, I use this over the top to kind of take away the excess. Also sometimes use this for cream blush, which is fabulous. Speaking of cream blush, any cream contour blush, products, anything like that, I use the Zoeva 128 Cream Cheek. This one's actually what it's supposed to be used for. Yeah, this is fabulous. It can kind of go along the cheek. You can use it for contouring. I just think it's really, really fabulous. And obviously the fact that it's synthetic means it's great for cream or liquid products. Really, really love this guy. Finishing up with the rest of sort of like skin and face, I use like 3 main brushes for concealer. So the first one, again, Zoeva. Zoeva features so heavily in my brushes because they're so reasonable. This one is a 227 Soft Definer. Duo fiber and synthetic under the eyes, just fabulous for buffing out concealer. You can also, I know a lot of people like to pat their concealer in if they want to get really good coverage. This one's fab for that. These two kind of go together. This one is a mini smudger from Screenface in London, which is like a pro makeup shop. So basically I use some really intense concealers, like cream thick concealers. So I need to warm them up and only apply them to the tiniest blemishy areas on the face. So I use this brush to apply it, to get the product on, and then I'd use something like this that's very, very dense but small to work around the spot or the blemish. And that means I keep the coverage on the spot, but then blend it out into the skin around. And this one is a Petite Eye Blender 223 from Zoeva. Again, not what it's supposed to be used for, but this is what I find works the best. Okay, let's talk powder on the face. A lot of makeup artists aren't huge fans of powder because they do create a very clear texture on the face. For some things it's really important, like red carpet, because otherwise people would just be crazy shiny. But on a photo shoot, I might not necessarily need a huge amount of powder during the day, but I will show you the brushes, that I would use if I were to be using powder. So first of all, if I have any sort of powder cheek products on the face, I actually love this one. It's from Me Cosmetics. It's called the Perfect Contour, and I love this for blush. I love it for contour, for bronzing big areas of the face. I just think it's fab. Like, the shape is really perfect for all of these sort of cheek things. It's a really long handle, which I don't know why, but I'm obsessed with. I think that's really important for like a face brush. I think it's because it just gives you like, it makes you use a softer hand, so things buff out more gently, more evenly, and more sheerly. And I think for the kind of makeup I do, that's super important to me. The next brush that I use, this one's an expensive one. Okay, it's from Hakuhodo, which is a Japanese brand. Obscenely expensive. It doesn't even have the number on. I think it must have rubbed off potentially. I actually got this at an IMAX, so they have a discount for it because they are really expensive. But this is basically a super, super fluffy and soft brush. And again, I would use this for blush, really, really gently on the cheeks. Everything is sheer, well, mostly in my life. And I am absolutely obsessed with this brush. It feels like a kiss on the cheek. It's so soft. But yeah, anything on the cheek like this, just gently swiped, fabulous. In a similar vein, this is a Wayne Goss brush. It's a number 2. I often use this for powder under the eyes, around the face, in sort of little areas. You can use it for contour. I originally thought I wanted to buy it for like blush, but it's kind of a little bit too small. I do like to have something slightly bigger for blush. And finally, for sort of the face powder brushes, this is a Morphe M218. So this is again just for really spot powdering. If you're only trying to put the tiniest bit of this bit on the skin, this is fabulous. So you can pop your powder into the brush and then like tap it out on your hand, really tap it out of the brush and just gently pat it onto the skin where it's most needed. I actually find it so difficult to try and whittle down which brushes I wanted to talk to you about in terms of eyes. Everyone's eye shape is different, the types of look we're doing are different, so you do need to have quite a lot of different brushes, but I think these are the main ones that will cover you for most things. I'll start with a cult favourite. It's a 217 from MAC. Every makeup artist in the world has one of these. Every brand in the world has tried to recreate one of these. The Zoeva ones are pretty great, but I still stick to my MAC ones. It's been dyed a little bit because one time I used fake blood and I was buffing it out and it just has never been able to get the pink out. The pigment's never come out, but this is fabulous. Sometimes I even use this for concealer if it's under the eyes and I just need to buff it out. But yeah, mostly this is all for your crease work in the eye or for soft washes. Fabulous brush. Will never ever be without this. In a similar vein, I have another one from Hakuhodo. So beautiful. It's the S142. This is the softest thing I've ever felt in my entire life. So for the brides, whenever I do their makeup, I always use these brushes. There's another one from Wayne Goss that's similar, but I use mostly this for the brides. This is like the lightest feeling you'll ever have on your eyes. Just the same kind of thing as the 217, but it's just the softest thing on the planet. For anyone with a smaller eye or for going underneath the eye, I've got the Wayne Goss number 5. It's teeny tiny, so it's perfect for the smaller areas. Again, unbelievably soft. Japanese brushes, they are the ones. A sort of flat packer brush, 232 Luxe Crease Shader. Luxe Classic Shader, sorry, I was about to say, I was like, Crease Shader? I don't think so. But this is just a little flat brush. I use this a lot to lay down colour on the lid. You can actually, if you want to do a sort of more cut crease style thing, use this on the thinner, flatter end and go in. But I tend to just use it to lay down products if I'm not going to use a finger for something more like shimmery or glittery. Love those. I carry loads of these as well in my kit. And then more detail in pencil brushes. So this pencil brush is a Sigma one, an E30. It's rubbed off because I've used it so much. Again, underneath the eyes, if I'm smudging a liner on the top lid, these are really, really fantastic brushes to have. And then this one, I bought this on a whim randomly in Sephora, I want to say 10 years ago. Before I was even a makeup artist, I was just like messing around with makeup and I bought one of these, and it's so soft and it is really, really lovely. It doesn't have a number, I don't think. Does it just say Shader, maybe? I don't know, but it's from Sephora, and again, underneath the eyes, any little smudgy work, detailed work, think this one is fantastic. Like I said, I could talk to you for years about brushes, especially for eyes, and one of the things that I could talk a really long time is angled brushes. So one that I really like is the Anastasia Beverly Hills like brow brush. It comes with a spoolie on one side and then the angled brush at this end. This is a very stiff brush, so if you're looking to do really specific strokes for eyebrows, this is fabulous. It's also great if you're going to do like a winged liner and you don't feel confident using sort of one of the fine tip liner brushes. Having a spoolie on the end to do your brows too is an absolute godsend. So I always have this. I think I have a couple of them in my kit. I carry the separate sort of brow ones anyway, because I like to use those also for mascara to make sure that I'm sort of making the eyes not so clumpy. Another type of angled brush, again, that I really like. This is much softer. It's a MAC brush. I think it says, yeah, 266. I use that for the brows when I don't want them to be as harsh, because the Anastasia Beverly Hills one really does give you very defined lines, whereas this one is a little bit softer. So you can also like really work the product into more of a fluffy, powdery finish, basically. I just think they're fabulous, and you should definitely have different strengths of hardness, should we say, on the brushes, because it gives you a completely different finish. Speaking of liner, I think this is a Louise Young brush. It's just a skinny liner brush. I have loads of different skinny liner brushes and they're all from arts and craft shops, but I still have the Louise Young. It was the first one I ever bought. Really great for your winged liner. Very necessary for bridal. Kind of important for like fashion makeup if you are a graphic sort of liner person, but day-to-day fashion, almost never do it. Never use liner really, but I still will always carry this just in case. And finally, a good lip brush. I'm still on the hunt for my perfect lip brush. The closest I've got is this one from my Kitco. Doesn't seem to have a number or name on it. Can't seem to find it in the stores anymore, but it's basically like a flat-edged brush. It's starting to splay like all lip brushes do. I'm still looking for the perfect one. So if you have any recommendations, please tell me. Makeup brushes are our tools as artists, and I think pretty much every artist will tell you that they're obsessed with their makeup brushes. That's one of the things that you'd find it really hard to replace were you to lose your kit. So I always keep my brushes close to me. If I travel on a plane, the brushes come with me in my hand luggage onto the plane. I've curated this kit of the brushes that I use, and it is exactly what I want and what I need. I always try out new brushes, and I have for years. They are so expensive, so you really do have to invest and be careful. So don't go crazy and buy a million brushes, because you kind of need to figure out what you like first, but over time you accumulate loads of them, and I love them so much. So this is sort of the amount of brushes that I showed you today. I feel like I could do pretty much anything with this collection of brushes. Chances are on that day I'd need a different one, but that tends to be the kind of core kit that I would need. Let's say I was doing one job, simple face, kind of knew what I was doing. I could just take these and I would never have to worry. I wouldn't have to bring anything else. But yeah, they're my go-to brushes. I absolutely love them. Please do tell me if you have any that you think I'm missing out on, that you think I need to try. I would love to hear from you. Please comment, subscribe, like this video, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see from me. Speak to you again soon, guys. Bye.